Alrighty, everybody, and welcome to Crumb's YouTube channel. My name is Crumbs, and today I want to talk a little bit about my experience so far with the VC Elite box. And what I'd like to say is everything that I talk about here is just my opinion. You may have other people who are watching it that might know the box more than I. You might have different opinions on what I see, what I say, what I talk about, what I believe. You might have different opinions on that, but this is just my experience. I've had the box now for around 10 days. I got it right after Christmas. There are good, bad, and uglies about it. One of the bad things that I had happen was that right after I had everything set up, I could not enter some programs. Some programs I would go into and they'd either kick me out or I'd get into the application. It kicks me out. Sometimes I go to get into a program all the way to where I can pull up a program and it kicks me out. So I bought the Elite over the 5. I think it's a 5 Pro. Now I'm not looking at anything to, this is all off my head. I just got a list of things I want to talk about. But I bought this one over any of the other ones because I get more apps. And I'm kind of glad I did on that because while there are a lot of shows that are the same, like the live, a lot of video on demand's all the same, while I wanted a bunch of those, I found out sometimes I need to go from one application to another application to get the program that I want running. For instance, I was trying to watch something in live TV that's on back play. In other words, you can watch something back up to a week. And it was a couple of days ago. I missed it. I wanted to watch it. When I tried going into Heat Live watching it, I couldn't watch it. I had to go to another app. It just kept freezing up. I had to go to another app. When I went into that app, I went back on that channel, looked at it, went into it. I was able to watch it just fine. I found that to be the same when I'm doing video on demand. Sometimes I'm able to get in with no problems at all and go through the server list, pull up a server, and everything's golden. It just goes right through. Other times, I was trying to watch a show last night. I went through 3 different of the apps that had that particular show on it before I found one that actually would play. The other 2 just kept spinning and wouldn't come up and saying we're having issues and couldn't find the movie listed. And although I was watching it earlier in the day, later on in the day, they couldn't find it. I don't know why that is. I'm assuming that the server that it's on is having a problem. Now, one of the things that I did is I called this in the beginning. I called this the Idiot's Guide to the Elite Box. And then I thought about it and I said, well, you know what? The viewers who are going to watch this are thinking that I'm saying that you guys are idiots, and certainly not. I am the idiot because I'm going at this with a man's view. Who needs directions? You know, who needs directions? I need no damn directions. And the directions you do get from VSeeBox leaves a whole lot to be desired. So one of the other ways that I try to get some information, I've gone up to the 3 or 4 Facebook pages of VC. And although there's some good information up there, there's some that did help. I found a lot of the responses from, and I'm going to say it flat out, jerks, to be pathetic. You know, you go up to these places and ask questions, like on Facebook, and you ask questions to get answers. You don't need some jerk coming up there and bad mouthing you. You know, well, maybe if I seen one, somebody said, well, how do you do this? I said, well, maybe if you read the directions. Well, the problem with reading the directions is there really isn't any. So, of course, I bought this because what I wanted was a personal video recorder. I had Dish TV. Dish TV just got too expensive at almost $200 a month. So with the price I paid for this, a couple of months of not paying Dish will make up for buying this. And I bought the Elite specifically because in a graphic, and I'm going to try to put it up here if I can find it, it basically said that the Elite is a PVR, and it says yes. Well, I don't know about the 5G, if the 5G can go in some of these programs and record or not. The 5 Pro, rather. But this one you can. There are some that you can go into and you can record. But what I thought it meant that I could record whatever was on the screen that was playing. So for instance, if I want to go on some of these, if I want to go in and let's say I want to catch a nightly news program, and it's one of the programs that will allow me to record, I can record it. But if I go into a program, let's take Heat Video on Demand. If I go into Heat Video on Demand and I want to watch a movie, let's say I'm getting ready to go on a trip and I want to put a movie on a thumb drive so I can watch it in the airplane, I can't do it. It won't allow me to do it. At least if it does, I haven't found it yet. So if you found that, let me know. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that. Now, of course, I can go to, in certain programs, in Heat Live, you cannot record. But I can go to certain programs, I believe, Backup by Heat, I believe you can record. But we'll talk about that at another day when we get up to it. But if you go into a program or an app like Heat Backup and it allows you to record, then you can record. It sets it to the directory on the VSeeBox itself. And then you can transfer that by copying it and transferring it and pasting it over to your thumb drive. Now, when you hook up a thumb drive, there's two ways you can hook up a thumb drive. You can stick a thumb drive in there and make it work only on the VSeeBox. I did that. I didn't know once you do that, you can't transfer your files to it. Well, you can transfer your files to it, but you can't read it on anything else but the VSeeBox. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. So if you're going to put a thumb drive in there and you want it so you can put your recordings on it, take it out and stick it in your computer later on and read it or whatever you plan on doing with it, don't format it so it only is workable with the VSeeBox, because then you have to go into it, transfer everything out, and then put a different thumb drive in, transfer it all back. You're just doing double and triple the work. One of the things that I have found here is on some of these programs, on some of these apps, and I call them programs, and if I call them programs, you're just going to have to ignore me. We go into Heat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a little screen here. It's going to block stuff out. Oh, I don't have to. So this is one of the channels. This is one of the NFL channels. Now, this is not a playback channel, I don't believe. I believe this is just a regular channel. And if this was a playback channel, underneath the down button, the line, the little indicator with the lines going across, that should pick up the electronic program menu. And there we see it down there at the bottom. So if I go into EPG, it's going to bring up the menu, and you'll see when you look where I'm at 1506, this is a playback channel. So on this particular one, if there was a game here, say there was a game yesterday at Monday at 12 o'clock at night, I could go back to Monday, 12 o'clock at night, and I can watch it. If this was not a playback channel, you wouldn't hit the little menu button on the bottom underneath the down arrow, the lines going across. You would hit the center button, the OK button. Now, in this case, when I hit the OK button, it's going to take me back to the channel. Now, when I'm in the EPG, here I am in the EPG now, I can't get back. I'm hitting the button. I can't get back to NFL to change it because I want to go up to Super Sports. All I can do right now with hitting the left button is go up to, is change times by going back. And now you'll see there was something playing here, 8:30 p.m. It was a New York Giants game. That's playback. Now I could watch that if I particularly wanted it to, and it was for Sunday at 8 p.m. Now, if I wanted to get to NFL, I'm going to press that left button, but I'm going to hold it. And now you see it went over to NFL, and I can go up. I want to do all the channels. If I want to do national channels, this is all the channels you see here. And I'm suspecting America. If you want to do local channels, those are like CBS, NBC, Ion, Telemundo. If you want to do sports. Now, in local channels, you may or may not get news channels like Fox or CNN. National, you will. Sports, these are all the ESPNs and Big Ten sports and all that kind of stuff. Canada, So here's Canada. The other day, Trudeau resigned, and I wanted to watch his speech. And so I went into CBC 1008, CBC Ottawa, and I was able to watch his speech. There's Latino if you speak Spanish. Peacock TV, which is stuff that is owned by NBC. 24/7 if you like the Foods Only channel or Master Chef. You can go over there to 2007, and all day long they play food only. Christmas, there's all kinds of Christmas stuff. There's stuff in 4K. You want to watch Ghosts, The Ghost and the Killer, and Bones, The Ghost and the Killer. You can go there and watch it in 4K. Bones, big in Philippines. I have no idea what that is. So, if you like The Real House or Drive Angry or Gladiators or whatever there may be. Paramount, that would be stuff that's owned by CBS. And then Super Sports, sports stuff, and all this stuff down here is Major League Baseball, MLS. I'm not a sports guy, so I have no idea what MLS is. There's some pay-per-view stuff that might be around. Now, I will tell you that if you are in a pay-per-view, or not a pay-per-view, but a go-back channel, playback channel, and you go back in time. You notice up there it says 10 p.m. up at the top. It says MLB, 10 p.m., 10:30, 11. You go up, it stays. But if you go out, it switches back. Now you see it says 4 o'clock. Okay, it will change. There are some settings in some of the programs where you can tell it to, some of them when you go to the back channel and you go backwards, you can't go back forward. You have to get out, go to another day, come back. But there are some settings in there where when you go back, this one here, you can go back and forward with no problem. But in some of the applications, you can't. You have to set it up so that you go up a channel and then it will go back to the regular time. Kind of archaic. But this particular one has 2 different menus. And I don't quite understand that. I'm going to shut it down here and I'm going to get the other menu up. And the only reason I'm going to shut it down, I'm going to start it back up, is because I don't want copyright material to pop up. Alrighty, and of course it did pop up. So here is that other menu. Now, you basically the same thing. Now, when you get into a app that has recording abilities on it, you still have these 2 menus, but you have to be in the EPG menu to record a show that you want to record. In this particular app, you can't record a show. So I'm not quite sure why they have 2 menus. Maybe somebody knows, you can let me know. I haven't found a reason why they have 2 menus. They're almost identical. I would say this one here is pretty much identical. I don't know anything that's missing from the other one. But if I wanted to go to, we go down here to NFL, and then I want to go over, now I can go back, and if I want to go over one more menu, I can go back. You see, I'm every Sunday. Okay, we're going back. And this one doesn't give you the time like the other one does, saying that you're in Tuesday or something. Let me try another one here, like this red event here. Or down here, there's no games. Maybe it just takes you back to where the recordings were, because I see everything's popping up with recordings. So you don't have to do the events. Of course, you get up here to where there is something that's a lot of events. Then like this one here, then you have a lot of, there's 1/7, 1/8, 1/8, 1/9. All right, so those are all the dates that it's played. So maybe they're showing here all the dates for the last week. This goes back to, yeah, all the times it played for the past week. So maybe it's a little bit more of a condensed where you don't have to go back time, go back like in the blue screen from time to time. So you can go into it, you could play. I'm not going to play it because if I played it, then, we're going to get a copyright smack and we don't want that. So the question is, am I happy with it? Well, so far, yes. One, I'm saving myself $200 payment a month to Dish TV, but there are some bad stuff. And like I said earlier, sometimes you go into a program, it doesn't want to play. Sometimes you find something you want to watch and you're watching it, it freezes. They say when it freezes, you switch servers. Some apps are pretty easy to switch servers. Others are pain in the tuchus, and one I couldn't figure out how to switch the server. Um, I find sometimes you watch a show earlier in the day and you want to come back and finish watching it at night, and you go right back to the same app that you use. And I'm trying to get used to a app. I want to get used to a app that I always go to. And right now, this looks like it's going to be Elite Hub. And we'll talk about that when we get to it. And that's the one that seems the easiest when I press on a uh, show to watch. The servers will line up. I can go over to the servers. There's a little trick to that, and I'll show you when we get to it, when you can tell whether or not the server is online and that you're connected to the server. And it's a subscription that has been bought through the, we don't pay for it, but it's been bought through the VSeeBox. And the other day, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, that notification that premium subscription was available just wouldn't show up. And so I wasn't able to connect. I had to go down the list and find another app that had the same program that I wanted, because not all video on demand apps will have all the same video on demand programs. I have a lot the same, but like me, I watch stuff from the 90s. I like watching stuff from the 90s, so that's what I was watching. And it was a little bit of a pain to try to find one where it was one that it was there, and two that it actually would play. So right now, yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy that I got it. Let's put it that way. It is a pain in the tuchus on some things, and it's a big learning curve over what we got used to with DVR player in like Dish or your cable DVR player. So it is going to be a learning curve. I'm trying to learn. Hopefully, my mistakes will help it easier for you. So with that, and later on, let me just say, and later on, I will be going over when I get more knowledgeable in some of these applications here. I'll be going over these again. So I'm not the world's expert, but if you have a question, let me know, and we'll go from there. And for God's sakes, VC, come up with a different remote. This remote absolutely, positively sucks. Is probably one of the worst remotes I had. There's no textile. And I said this in my remote video that I did a few weeks ago. You can't tell when you're on one side of this stupid circle dial in the middle. I can't tell where the up button is. Look, I watch TV in the dark. I can't tell where this up button is. I can't tell where the down button is. I can hardly feel the menu button at the bottom. I think that's what the three lines is for, or the channel button up or down. It doesn't connect with my Roku remote. Now, someone did send a message on one of my other ones that there's a way around that with a different device. I'll have to look into that. I haven't yet. Um, Pressing the live TV button does get you to live TV. Pressing the movie buttons, I haven't tried yet. The info buttons did seem to work, and I don't use the mouse. And just like with my Roku remote, it has the YouTube, Netflix, Disney, and Prime Video on the bottom, which for some reason, when my dog jumps into bed, they're always hitting. So with that, I hope this video helped a little bit. So basically, you'll be able to watch live TV. You'll be able to go back and watch something that recorded yesterday or the day before, for the most part. You will not be able to record in this application. This is strictly just watching movies, television shows, television stations, sporting events. They may have movies like on Paramount. You may be able to watch those type of movies that are, I guess you could call broadcast. I'm not quite sure what you'd call that. But it's not video on demand by any means. You can't go in there and say, hey, I want to watch Back to the Future, and Back to the Future pops up for you. Now, they may have it playing someplace, but you can't bring it up from the beginning. At least not that I found. That will be on the other ones that are video on demand. So with that, if you have any questions, please put it down below. If you like what I'm doing here, please give it a thumbs up, comment, please subscribe. Um, and that's it. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. I'll be doing another review of another heat app for next week. I want to make sure I have about a week between videos so that I can see, play around with, and get used to the apps. If you see the apps on there, if you looked earlier, seen the apps, they had arrows down. That's because when I set this back to factory resets, I chose not to download those. And one other thing I did want to mention about apps, and then I'll get out of here, is when you're downloading an app, we're talking about the Heat apps or the Extreme apps or the Robinhood apps or whatever apps are on there. When you go into them the first time, they're going to download saying it's downloading. And then once it gets downloaded, you're going to hit it to go inside the app. It's going to download again. I think the first time is just to get the app on there. The second time is to get the programming on there. And these things update a lot. I've gone in and set mine up, and I'll show you that on another video because this one's getting kind of long, where I've set it up to where each app has its own settings, and the ones that allow me to, I've set them up for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ahead. I don't need it to record every time. Nothing's worse than when I want to go to watch TV, because I watch TV in bed 99% of the time. When I go to watch TV in bed and I am going into an app and it wants to upload. That just, uploading the program, and it just drives me nuts. Alrighty, like, subscribe, and all that other jazz. Comment on the bottom. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you all on the next one.